What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video, I'm back. Missed you guys. Hope you guys have been well. I decided to take a little break from Pokemon myself. This has nothing to do with like the state of the game of Pokemon. I think we got a new season. Things are fresh to some extent, right? But this was just because a game that I've been playing for years, since 2014 actually, released the culmination of our journey, and that is Destiny 2. I know a lot of you guys play it because I've seen your comments on my other YouTube channel, if you guys didn't know. I do make Destiny 2 content as well. I've seen you guys' comments there, so shout out to you guys. Thanks for the support. But yeah, Destiny 2, it's been a 10-year journey. We faced the final big bad guy that we have been worried about facing off against for a decade, right? So I really wanted to spend a week or two diving into the content and just having a blast with a video game that I love, because I'm a gamer, just like you guys, right? I play multiple games. Pokemon is not the only thing I play. I play Destiny 2. I play World of Warcraft, right? But today, we're back. We're going to get back into it in terms of Pokemon. We got the Summer Cup. Pretty fun meta, to be completely honest. There's a lot of spice to be had. And I'm running a triple water team. Now, what I love about the water typing is that even though it has weaknesses, you can have coverages to that. It's probably the best typing in the game right now. So with Swampert, we can do well against electric type Pokemon because of our ground typing. With Dugong and Seaking there, we have Icy Wind and Drill Run. That gives us the grass coverage and the electric coverage. So this team can handle hard counters in the right kind of situation. So you guys are going to see some fun games today. Let me know what Summer Cup teams you guys have been trying, what Pokemon are fun, because again, I'm diving right back into it. So I got a lot of things to try out. So thanks for sticking around for 2 minutes on this intro, but let's get back into the battles. All right, getting in the first one, we have Swampert versus Pidgeot here on the lead. Pidgeot is always an interesting Pokemon to be facing off against. You have to worry about, is it Feather Dance for that attack debuff, or is it the Brave Bird, right? So we're going to go ahead and go for Hydro Cannon here. My opponent decides to shield, which is fine. Now, I thought this might have been a bit early, but I'm just going to shield, or no shield, sorry. I'm going to no shield there because I thought it was a bit early, and I was correct in thinking so. Now, they decide to swap into Whiscash, so I'm going to go for a Hydro Cannon here just to do some chip damage, and then I'm actually going to let the Swampert go down because right now I'm debuffed. I don't want to swap into Seaking because that's going to be a tough matchup, so what I would rather do is just let the Swampert go down and then come in with Dugong right here and look to go for a pretty aggressive farm down here. I can speak today. A pretty aggressive farm down with Ice Shard, and because we have that the chip damage that we did with Hydro Cannon, it's pretty low right here. Now, Mud Bomb is going to do a decent amount. We're still going to go sub 50% HP, which is fine, but I should be able to go for an Icy Wind here, and I have plenty of energy. If that Pidgeot decides to come back in, guess what? I have an Icy Wind ready to go. I have 2 shields, so let's see what they decide to bring in. It's going to be Lantern. Now, this is a counter to this team, right? It's the electric typing that we got to worry about, but because of Drill Run, we have the super effective damage needed. Now, I'm anticipating my opponent trying to catch a charge move here. So I'm going to dance a very fine line. I will give up a shield on the Surf, but I'm expecting them to try to catch a Drill Run. And there it is. They did try to swap right there. They know I want to throw Drill Run, but instead I go for Icy Wind here, which will land, and now I get to go for a second one, but I decide to bank the energy. I think this is going to be a big play for me right here in this game. Mind you, I decided to shield the Feather Dance. Mind you, I've already debuffed them with Icy Wind, and I'm about to get a second debuff right here. Now remember, we have that Drill Run banked on the Dugong, which is going to be perfect to close out this game, as the Pidgeot is going to look to go for a Brave Bird. There's no reason to not throw Brave Bird here, but because of double Icy Wind debuff, it is not enough damage to take down the Seaking, which means we get a very aggressive farm down, and now against Lantern, we're able to get to this Drill Run. This is so huge. This is going to be just enough chip damage now, where the Lantern is going to go down to the back-to-back Wombo combo here. So we are back. This first game was a fun back and forth. We're able to overcome even against a team with Lantern. Good game. All right. Moving into the next one, we have Swampert on the lead versus Ferrothorn. This is a tough one. Ferrothorn is a very tough Pokemon for this team to deal with because we're not doing any super effective. We're doing neutral. So we got to sacrifice our Seaking in this situation. I will have to give up a shield in order to try to get something from my opponent, whether that's health or shields, but they decide to swap out into Jellicent. So this isn't the worst case scenario, but that Ferrothorn is still lurking in the back, right? And it has 2 shields. So I'm gonna try to force shields here from my opponent. I could go for Icy Wind, but what I don't want to get caught is by them no shielding. So I'm just going straight Drill Runs. If I get a shield, which I do, this now opens up a bit of play for Dugong and Swampert to beat that Ferrothorn. Remember, Earthquake from Shadow Swampert hits like a truck. Ice Shard and Icy Wind really start to add up. So now we have to try to play a very fine line here with our Shadow Swampert, because what I want to do is come out of here with an Earthquake almost ready. So we're going to decide to no shield the Shadow Ball, but it is going to be Ice Beam here. I'm surprised they didn't go for Shadow Ball. We would have tanked the Shadow Ball anyways, but now it allowed me to farm a little bit extra, which is great, and we're going to go for Hydro Cannon here, as this is probably going to be just enough damage to knock out, but they decide to shield, and now they decide to swap into the Ferrothorn, and this is free. This is free damage right here. Shadow Earthquake hits like a truck. And now we can come in with Dugong with the 1-0 shields, and we unfortunately don't get the farm down right there. That would have been beautiful to get, but now we have to give up our final shield. We get to see what the final Pokemon is in the back, because the Jellicent is likely not coming back in. It's going to be Blaziken. Now I decide to go for Drill Run right away. I do not want this Blaziken to get to the Blast Burn. But the Drill Run was not enough, and the Ice Shard is not enough right there too, and I'm thinking, this is just Blaze Kick. That wasn't enough energy, and I was right. It is just Blaze Kick. We farmed down, but the Jellicent has a charge move ready to go, so unfortunately we were one fast move away right there from the Drill Run, coming back from a very tough game. So good battle to my opponent. Almost coming back from a tough game. All right, moving to the next one, we have Azumarill on the lead. Now, Azumarill is a Pokemon that this whole team can handle, but the cool thing about Swampert is it could have Sludge Wave, right? So you want to put that Fear of God, of the boom, into the opponent. So we're just going to go straight Hydro Cannons right here, because if they decide to shield, right, I still want them to fear a potential Sludge Wave. So I will give up 1 shield here. We've gotten the Blue Bunny there relatively low. We're about same in the pacing in terms of health, but now I need to go for Earthquake here. This is where I need to either land the damage or get a shield, and we're going to see that my opponent decides to shield. So now I'm going to try to catch a charge move here on Seaking, but they hold the energy, which is fine, and now they swap out into Knocked Out. And this is a perfect situation. Even if Lantern swapped in, or maybe a Victory Bell swaps in, we have answers for it, right? We have Drill Run and we have Icy Wind. But a Knocked Out here is something we can really handle. We can get ourselves the 1-0 shields or take Switch, which is perfect for Seaking in the mid game. So we're going to go ahead and no shield. It is going to be the Shadow Ball, which we can easily survive thanks to the Icy Wind debuff. And now we get to another one. And Seaking, man, it's a triple legacy over there, right? It has been for years. It was worth the TMs years back. It has gotten me a lot of good wins in Go Battle League, and with the Azumarill coming back in, this is a lot of energy that they're going to be throwing into the Seaking to try to take us out, and even then they can't, so that means I get a few more poison jabs there. Now, I'm going to come in with Dugong to load up on energy. I don't know what they have in the back. We haven't seen it come out onto the field, but I know Dugong in this situation can tank 2 play roughs and get a lot of energy, because the worst case scenario for the opponent is for a Dugong to have this much energy. It doesn't matter what's back there. It could be a grass, could be electric. If I have double charge moves, even if it's something neutral, it's going to be an Amoonguss, which is cool. But 2 charge moves from a Dugong will either apply double Icy Wind debuff, or I'm doing super effective damage with Drill Run, both of which is very positive for me. So I'm going double Icy Winds right here. I don't know if I can get to a 3rd in time, so I decide to bail out into Swampert, because I know I can safely shield the charge move and go for Hydro Cannon to take out the Amoonguss. I believe that's Shiny Amoonguss as well. So good little flex by them. Spicy Pokemon on their side, but unfortunately Shadow Swampert right here is going to make quick work of it with the Hydro Cannon, and then the Azumarill is going to get farmed down with Mud Shot, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. Alright, moving to the next one. Swampert versus Beedrill on the lead. Now, Beedrill is a good Pokemon in this meta, but it's something we can handle. And they decided to swap out into Wigglytuff, which is really nice here for the Seaking. Now, the tough thing about this matchup, even though we are doing super effective damage with Poison Jab because of that Fairy typing, Charm hits way too hard. So we will get outpaced in terms of the fast move. Look at this. But what they have to do is they have to throw, because otherwise I get to 2 Icy Winds against them. And we've already gotten a shield from them, which is great. So we have the 2-to-1s, and now I can come in with Dugong and load up on energy. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to go for the aggressive farm down, and now we have plenty of energy. We have 2-to-1 shields. This is a great situation to be in. So let's see what they decided to come in with. It's going to be the Obstagoon right here, which Obstagoon in this situation takes a good amount of damage from Icy Wind. It applies that debuff. They decided to shield, which obviously you guys know how this goes. If you have a Swampert in neutral play, a Beedrill and an Obstagoon, which is what's left in this game, and I have 2-to-0 shields, I'm sweeping you with a Swampert. That's just what happens. That's what Swampert does. You just load up and just go Hydro Cannon after Hydro Cannon. This is why Swampert has always been so strong in the Great League and Great League Specialty Cups. Now I'm taking a look at the amount of damage that Mudshot's doing to this Beedrill, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the farm down instead of throwing Hydro Cannon because of how much damage it did, and now I can go for back-to-back Hydro Cannons here against the Obstagoon because it hits like a truck. So that is going to be a good game, very well played to my opponent. Unfortunately for them, they gave up both shields when I had a Shadow Swampert, so boom, see ya. That is going to be a good battle. Alright. Moving to the next one, Shadow Swampert, Typhlosion. Alright, this is a Pokemon I really want to try, but RNGesus is not on my side. Every charge TM that I use on my Typhlosion does not give me Thunder Punch. I have gone through, I believe, 15 already so far. Trust me, it's bad. Now, they're deciding to stay in. This is a read. This is a hard read by me that my opponent is weak to water in the back potentially. If they're staying into this matchup, so I'm going to let the Swampert go down because I have a Seaking and a Dugong. If, you know, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and no shield. It is going to be Blast Burn. And then now I'm going to come in with Seaking. They actually swap out. They were not weak in the back. They had a Victory Bell. But this is going to go to show how strong this team can be even in some of the worst situations like Shadow Victory Bell. Now this is a 2-to-0, now 1-to-0 shield advantage. But regardless, I would be doing a lot of damage with Ice Shard and Icy Wind. Boom, down it goes. And now we get to see how they're going to play this out. They're going to come back in with Typhlosion. So I'm going to decide to let this go. This Typhlosion has quite a bit of energy. Boom, we go down. And I'm going to come in with Seaking. And I'm going to go for the almighty farm down because they cannot get to, I believe, 2 Thunder Punches in time. I think they need 1 more Incinerate. But they went for Blast Burn anyways. Now they swap out and there's Lantern in the back. So this was a Shadow Victory, or a normal Victory Bell on the back line and a Lantern. This is why I'm telling you guys, if you stuck around this long, this team has play. This team can do well in the worst of situations as we take down the Typhlosion, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. Alright, moving to the next one, Swampert versus Dunsparce here on the lead. Now this is a very neutral matchup and we can apply a lot of pressure here, but what I've favored with this team is energy on a Dugong or energy on a Seaking rather than giving up shields to keep Swampert alive. Because I know how strong those Pokemon can be with energy and shield advantage, I'm going to play to that in these games. So I'm going to no shield the Drill Run here. I'm going to look to go for another Hydro Cannon as we will be able to outpace. And then the Hydro Cannon here will either win me the lead, which is great, or it gets me the 2-to-1 shield advantage. And I'm going to let them throw the energy. I'm not going to try to go for give up another shield because I want energy advantage with this team. So I'm going to let this go, and then we're going to come in with that Seeking. Dugong would be taking, super effective damage from rollout and Rock Slide. So you don't want to bring in the Dugong in this situation. You want to bring in that Seeking for the neutral damage. We're also going to no shield here. Drill Run won't do that much. And now they swap out into a Shadow Swampert. And this is perfect. This is why we have 2-to-1 shield advantage, because what we can do is apply Icy Wind debuff. That's 50% HP already. And now we come in with Dugong, and they are in a very tough position, right? Ice Shards are going to be adding up. I just need to successfully shield the Earthquake, which I do, and now I can really load up on energy. I'm going to throw Icy Wind here just before they can get to another Earthquake, because I do not want to give up another shield. I want to maintain the 1-to-1 shield scenario with a lot of health, because Dunsparce is extremely low, right? So the final Pokemon, they actually come in with Dunsparce, which is unfortunate for them because they don't get to the Rock Slide. The final Pokemon is going to be Galvantula. So even though it is a Galvantula, right, hard counters water types, we do so much damage. Icy Wind is neutral. They decide to no shield that, and it ultimately doesn't matter. Shield that one or shield this next one. I go for Icy Wind here. And then Seeking at this point can farm down with Poison Jab because of the attack debuffs that we are applying. Look at the health we have remaining. They have to throw energy, which is fine. I'm going to no shield here on Dugong. My win condition is with Seeking. It is with Poison Jab. So I'm going to swap out right away. And then we farm down the Dugong, survive that discharge anyways. So that is going to be a good game, very well played. All right, moving to the next one, Swampert versus Beedrill, once again on the lead. So we'll have to see how they decide to play this. They decide to swap out, and it's into a Dubwall. Now, Dubwall can be very tough to manage with this team because of the moveset that it has. Body Slam is very spammy, especially with Double Kick as the fast move, and they're deciding to go for it right here. And Swampert, oh man, Swampert takes a lot of damage from Body Slam, but I'm going to let it go. Now, the other move we have to look out for, which is why I'm swapping into Seeking here, is going to be Wild Charge. Wild Charge can one-shot everything here. So we're going to respect it and shield. It is just going to be another Body Slam. But the reason why I came in with Seeking was that Poison Jab damage, and I want to keep the Swampert alive just in case they are weak in the back, and against Beedrill it can do pretty well. Now Beedrill is coming back in, which is fine. We're going to be able to get to this Icy Wind here, which is going to do that neutral damage that we need, and it's going to apply that debuff. It's going to be so critical to potentially win this game, and it gets the shield, which is beautiful. So now Beedrill's really loading up on energy. The opponent knows they need excess energy to potentially win this game. Now I don't have to come in with Swampert here, right? X-Scissor's not enough to take us out. I can come in with Dugong. Dugong is going to be a safer bet. I won't need to shield a Drill Run. I can easily overload on energy. And if there is a hard counter in the back, if there is a Lantern back there, I can have the energy needed. Now it's going to be Shadow Swampert in the back, so we're in a very good position to win this game. We're going to go ahead and go for Icy Wind here to apply the debuff, and things are looking very good. Now, what I have to fear is the Earthquake that could come. So I'm going to decide to shield, and it was a Hydro Cannon. That is so unfortunate, as the opponent now is looking to go for a second one right away. Now what I'm going to do is go for the aggressive farm down right here, but they get another one in time. I'm like, okay. I'm swiftly reminded how good Shadow Swampert can be. Thankfully we survive, but we don't get enough energy for 2 Icy Winds. That might come back to bite us. We're going to go for Icy Wind right here. This is going to be getting the final shield. We swap into, or Swampert comes out on the field because we got farmed down, and we go for Hydro Cannon, but we lose charge attack priority, or I believe that I was 1 turn behind right there. X-Scissor is enough to take us out. Boom. Good game to my opponent. I thought I had it in the bag, but that extra Hydro Cannon they got won them the game. All right, moving to the next one, we have Jumpluff on the lead. Jumpluff can do very well against this whole team, but what Jumpluff can't do is survive the onslaught of Poison Jab, Icy Wind, Ice Shard, Icy Wind. It is a deadly combo because much like Tropius, it is a grass flying type, which means we're going to be doing double super effective damage, just like you would against a dragon, right? Against Dragonite, for example. And this is why, if you're weak to grass with this team, because of Ice Shard and Icy Wind and then the Poison Jab Icy Wind combination, you can actually go toe-to-toe with these grass-type Pokemon, like we saw with Ferrothorn, like we saw with Victory Bell, like we saw with Amoonguss, and now like we see with the Jumpluff. So we get the 1-0 shield advantage. They come in with Poliwrath right here, which is going to allow my Swampert. Now, this is a bubble Poliwrath, which I decided to shield. This was such a mistake. I decided to shield. It's just a power-up punch. I'm like, oh, of course, it's power-up punch. In my head, I'm always thinking Dynamic Punch, Scald, Icy Wind. Dynamic Punch, Scald, Icy Wind. I forgot it had power-up punch. So I'm kind of frustrated. I'm doing the Earthquake right here. It one-shots anyways. Boom! Now we see Jumpluff come in, so we're going to go for Hydro Cannon here. I could have swapped out into Dugong, but ultimately I wanted to try to one-shot with Hydro Cannon, but it wasn't enough damage, and I knew this Jumpluff was going to get to an Energy Ball in time. So we have to sacrifice. We have to sacrifice the Swampert. We come in with Dugong. We get the farm down. Now it's a 1v1, and it's going to be a Rapidash in the back. This is so spicy. I'm going to look to go for Drill Run on Charge Attack priority. I am trying to learn from the Blaziken mess up that I had earlier because this Drill Run is likely not going to one-shot. So I'm timing it with Charge Attack priority so that I can get as many Ice Shards through, and then now we should be able to win, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. Overall, this team was, I believe, was that the last one? That was the last one. Overall, this team was a lot of fun, right? Triple water, very strong. Pokemon you guys have probably already built or should be building. I would recommend all these Pokemon to be added onto your Great League roster. Shadow Swampert, Dugong, and Seaking. If you don't have Shadow Swampert, normal Swampert can do well too. Maybe even a little Whiscash in there if you want to. But ultimately, I liked the damage that Shadow Swampert brought, especially in situations like we saw with the Ferrothorn, right? That Earthquake that did so much damage. That was huge. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I am back, and yeah, we're gonna get into more Summer Cup Great League Edition battles this week. So like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.